Welcome to Ride Along. I'm Joe Monahan. On this session, we're going to talk about insurance and kind of dig into data protection insurance. And this is, for some people, a newer subject. For other people, it's been a thorn in their side for a bit of time. So, let's break this down. Interesting conversation. I own a house, and I want to get insurance for that house. Now, if I have bolt locks, and again, this is proven so many times, if I have a bolt lock on my door, someone could kick that bolt lock in very easily. Why have one? Some people will put two bolt locks, and then they get twice as good, okay? Well, I could knock the hinges out of a door, and now it swings the opposite direction, and I could walk right through that open space no matter what kind of bolt lock you had on one side of the door. The next level is an alarm. Well, an alarm is a great thing to have as long as you truly understand. Most of the alarm systems out there that you're going to see are going to take, say, 3 to 5 minutes for police or other help to get there. Well, in most situations, a thief could be in and out in 2 minutes, maybe 3, and the police show up and they're just reporting on your stolen goods. Well, now it's up to you to prove the value of those stolen goods. That's kind of interesting. So layer 3 now is cameras. And insurance companies love cameras, especially inside the house, because if you say, I had my TV and my computer and my box of gold bricks that was sitting on top of the vanity stolen, they can go to the cameras and look to see if that person stole those things, and that's going to be their ability to prove that and pay you accordingly. So now let's take that little bit of information and let's apply it to, let's say, data protection. We don't think about it this way, but if you look at an insurance company and you say, I have an alarm and I have cameras, but I have no bolt locks, they'll say, I don't want to insure you. And you say, well, wait a minute. The alarm will go off and we can film everything that's stolen. Yeah, but there's no preventive component. There's nothing stopping them from coming in. And that's where we get into security and firewalls and many other things like that, account protection, making sure people don't break in with somebody's name and password. So let's fall back to the other two, right? Alarm can be considered security as well. This is something where you're monitoring and you're seeing as something comes in. But now we fall back to step 3, which is the interesting one to me. Step 3 is being able to prove what you had and being able to show where it was. So once everything is done, I'd be able to put something back where it was. Kind of interesting, right? If I had a 60-inch television stolen, I'm putting back a 60-inch television right where it existed. So I'm replacing what has been stolen or broken with something of equal value or of the same thing. Well, let's now take a look at that in a data protection scenario. So there are companies now that are demanding that you have a lot of things in place in order to meet the insurance requirements or even the audit requirements of an insurance policy. When you just think about backup, it's such a small piece, but there's so many orbiting features that you can use in that conversation. So like I said, they're absolutely going to want you to have protective firewalls from the outside to the inside and vice versa. They're going to want you to have account protection, which makes complete sense to me because that can bypass all security and let somebody just go in and do whatever they want. Unless you have data backed up off-site that has no connection to that environment, as some people call it an air gap, so they can go crazy in the current environment they're in, But when they're done and you kick them out and you shut everything down and rebuild it, you can now just rebuild with what you backed up. But let's talk about another phase of that. Veeam, which is going to be at this conversation, has something like Orchestrator. So not only can you automate the process of how you do your backups and have reports to prove how those backups are being done, but you can do multiple types of backups automated so you can show them the multiple types of backups that you're doing and even request to them, what would you like to see done? And they give you their list, and you can go into Orchestrator after you've developed these backup solutions or while you're developing them and use Orchestrator to test them through automation and come back and look to see if everything is working fine, and if it's not, you'll have a report to show you what you need to work on or fix so the next time it does. Sure Backup now falls into this. Sure Backup is one of those really amazing products that so many people are now discovering, but it's been out there forever, where I can take, let's say, services, not full environments, but services like Exchange or databases or SharePoint or Active Directory, and I can back those up and then test the backups in an isolated environment. And when I say isolated, I mean no one's going to be able to get to the area that you're going to be testing this in unless you let them get in. Now that we have this little area where we can do this testing, it can all be automated, or you can use a sandbox, but the automation piece, which is called Sure Backup, kicks out reports. So every time that you do one of these, as often as you want, you get a report to show what the result was. And let me tell you, auditors and insurance auditors love to see reports. So that's phase 2 of this piece where we're talking about insurance. Phase 3 is the built-in immunity and versatility that you get. You have multiple ways to protect your data when you're backing it up, even if it's on-prem. So now you're adding those bolt locks or those protection mechanisms. When you think about immutability, think about your TV on your wall surrounded in plexiglass so someone can view it or take a picture of the screen, but they can't get that TV off the wall. So that's a really nice way of thinking about that level of protection with immutability. Now, taking all that into consideration, you have these tools at your disposal to either be asked to use or to put in place. So even if they're not asking for these tools, you can present them as a value add, and this can really help you when it comes to an insurance policy or audits. I hope this helps. Thanks for riding along.